so amazing. I just want to keep dancing and dancing. And I just sing that song all over again. That was so good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you all for showing up this morning. It's like I'm standing in answered prayer, and so are you.
Yes.
It's like so amazing to know with every breath we take, we're standing in answered prayer. It's funny, when we were meditating earlier, I kept just sensing these waves of pictures kept showing up, and it was beautiful. I feel like every moment here that I'm standing in answered prayer is that here's Reverend Leon, and here's Reverend Joanne, and here's Reverend Michael, and probably here's Reverend Cheryl, right?
Yeah.
And then, oh, Jason's standing right here. And I can keep going, right? Like, oh, they're all right here with you at all times. And their prayer was for you to be here. Your prayer was for them to be here, for me to be here, that we're always walking in answered prayer.
Oh, yes.
With every breath we take, we just forget. We just forget that we prayed for things. And then at times we wake up for a moment and think, oh, wait, I prayed for this. So now it's time for me to celebrate it. So I celebrate you all for being here today. I'm going to beg your forgiveness. You can hear too much about this Costa Rica trip I just got back from because it's still in me. I feel like I literally just got off the plane. And Reverend Michael was teaching, and I am one of his key teachers down there when he is not there. And so this morning when I texted him and said, okay, have a good service. I'm here at Soul Center. He immediately, and I love this because you can imagine the man's in between services and he looked down and, oh, tell everyone I said hello. So I decided to say hello. Woo! He'll ask me. In a couple hours, I'll get that text of like, did you tell them I said hello? So everyone just know, if he asks you, please say yes. I don't want to get in trouble. We have this joke that lots of times he'll walk in and I know if he goes, Kimberly, I need to talk to you. Right now, and I look at him and I go, did I do something? Am I in trouble? And he goes, no, I'm sure you could be, but you're not today. I need to talk to you. So I always know that's coming. So I'm here to talk about what I've heard you've been talking about all month is all about freedom.
Yes.
What I know about freedom is it is our very right. The second we were born, the first breath we took, we were free. No matter where we were, how we're here, we have a body, we're free. And it always begins in our consciousness. So wherever our consciousness is where we get to amplify freedom. So there's this knowing that as we claim it and then begin to trust the journey we're upon, knowing that we're bigger than the journey, we're bigger than the story, then our freedom begins to expand. So today when I start talking to you about the 5 things that we're going to look at that brings you to freedom, know this, that you could use one of them and you'll be living in freedom. You start amplifying all of them, and you're going to be absolutely flying off the charts, off the planet, which is okay if we have moments like that, because we're doing it anyway. We just get to keep coming back to our body. We have this beautiful, magnificent body. I'm looking at all of them that we were given to amplify our gifts in this lifetime. That was freedom in that moment. So I want you to just right now take a breath of knowing that you have an option today. You have an option to know that from this moment onward, I'm choosing freedom with every step I take. That you get to opt out of mass consciousness thinking, where there is any limitation or anything that is blocking your freedom, and to opt into what you choose that to be. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
From this moment onward, breath by breath, you have the choice to be free. To be absolutely free. That's like amazing to me.
Yes.
When my children were little, I would never say to them, I had this thing that I would never say to them, be careful. I just couldn't say be careful. And there was something, it implied to me that there's something to fear. So I was sitting there, and this is what I mean about freedom. I was sitting there once, and my son's 3, and he's walking on this funny wall, and I look over, and I always say, Lucas, be aware of what you're doing. And this woman looks at me and says, he's 3. How is he to be aware of what he's doing? And in my mind, I thought, he's 3, but he's free. And in his freedom, his consciousness just is to stay awake and aware, which is the first key to trusting the journey and being in freedom, is we must stay conscious. The first one is to stay conscious. The second one, I have to always stop and think, is to be courageous and curious. The third one is to walk in unstoppable faith. The fourth one is gratitude and acknowledgement, and the fifth one is love. But when we are staying conscious, we're in a really busy life right now. Can we agree on that?
Yes.
It is so fast. It's like technology's got us to cross the planet in 2 seconds. We know exactly what's happening in another country right this minute. That's profound. And if we are not on the edge of our spiritual evolution to keep up with the technology of that pace, we're not going to be staying awake. It's a necessity in this lifetime to stay absolutely conscious. We must stay conscious. So every one of your spiritual practices brings you back to staying conscious, awake and aware. Like I told him when he was 3, stay aware of what you're doing. Just to be aware. There's enough distractions in the world that can pull us out of being aware. That's why I honor you for showing up for meditation, for being right here to be together. Every moment you're in the presence of one another, you're remembering who you are. Just by being in the presence of one another. That's huge. Thank you for creating that for everyone. Thank you. Because in that creation of your 2 intentions, well, if you stay for the workshop this afternoon, intentions are powerful, because I guarantee you, these 2 beautiful women set the intention a long time ago to create this. So their intention is being fulfilled right now. That's what happens when we stay conscious and creative. If we are willing to stay awake. Now, there's a lot of distractions in the world. And it must be our intention each and every day. I wake up and my intention is to stay awake. And I don't just mean like I'm going sleepy, because I don't sleep much. But my intention is to stay awake and aware of every choice I'm making, so I'm making a conscious one. We are making choices every single moment. And if we slip and think, oh, I didn't choose that. Oh, no, I didn't choose that. Reverend Michael was explaining this week in Costa Rica, the 4 stages of spiritual evolution, and the first one is the victim stage. Then when we slip into the victim stage and think, oh, I don't know how that happened. We just forget for a moment that there may have been a moment we chose something and we just forgot. It's an opportunity to wake up by the evidence we see. But our consciousness always, always trumps circumstance. He's been telling us that for years. Our consciousness trumps any circumstance that's happening in life, which is the greatest news ever.
Yes.
Because we could be in a challenging situation. All of us have been in challenging situations, and we will probably be in them again. The beautiful thing is when we remember that we're rich in consciousness, and our job is to keep cultivating a rich consciousness, to keep going deeper in our spiritual practice, deeper in our connection of oneness, deeper in kindness, compassion, forgiveness. We keep growing that. That trumps any circumstance that's happening in life. So we can stand in the middle of the challenge and look at it face to face and know, I'm moving through this. We just have more tools to move through it with. And that's the greatest thing, is we keep filling up this tool bag of what am I going to use now? This is a really big challenge. Am I going to breathe? Am I going to say some prayers right here? What am I going to do to move through it? But we have choice in that. So the first one is to stay conscious, awake, and aware. Just wake up in the morning, take a breath, tap your heart, and think, whew, I'm going to stay conscious this day. And walk in love, or walk in peace, or walk in kindness, whatever it is, but you get to choose. So I invite you to stay on the edge of your transformation each day by your conscious choice in it. Yes?
Yes.
Courage. Lots of times when people ask for intention to do with clarity, this happened in Costa Rica too, someone said, well, Kim, I need clarity on this situation. And I said, great, so your prayers for clarity and courage. Because when we have a prayer for clarity, it will come. Whatever we're intending will come. And then it is our charge to know when clarity comes. Sometimes it's pretty and sometimes it's not.
Yep.
Do we know what we're talking about here? Sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
woo, I asked for clarity, but wow, it just came in the door and I didn't know it looked like that.
Yep.
You're dressed in different clothes. I didn't see you coming. But we still get to embrace it. And know, okay, now I get to have the courage to handle this piece of information that just came to me. So courage is magnificent. To just breathe through it. And you know how we get courage? Is we get really curious. Because when we're not curious, we pull back, right? Energetic fear, we can go, so we're not curious. We're not wondering anymore. Curiosity is a lean in. Fear is usually a constricting breath. So curiosity takes us, we have to have courage to have curiosity and look within to discover more of the journey that we can trust. But we must be curious about it. So guess what the easiest way to be curious is? Ask lots of questions. That it's safe to ask questions. But here's the key. They have to be empowering questions, questions that are expansive, questions that uplift you. There's a difference between questions where we stay stuck. Lots of times they begin with 3 letters that sound like why. Why did this happen to me? Why is that person late? Why did this? Sometimes why can keep us stuck. Not always, but sometimes. An empowering question is going to be, what is being birthed in me right now in the middle of this challenge? Because something's got to be birthed for me to get through it. There's a point a few years ago that I had some very intensified things occurring in life, and they were big. And Reverend Michael would put his hand on my back, and he'd look at me and say, what's your growing edge right now, Kim? Because to get through this, you've got to grow. Mm-hmm. And I want you to take that and think about, what is your growing edge? Because when in each moment we have an opportunity to look at, there's something in me that must transform me to get there. Athletes know this. They know they must just push to their growing edge so that their bodies can attain the place they want to be. Sometimes we forget that spiritually. Like, what's my growing edge right now? And I want to grow it. That's a really good question. Would you agree?
Yes.
So think from the context of questions that empower you, questions that make you ask the universe a question that's going to bring back an answer that's going to inform you something to stay even more curious. What's my highest good right now? The question that came up in Costa Rica was, I love this. One day I wrote stand there and he goes, how can I get any better than this? And that's good. How can I get any better than this? And so the morning before I was leaving, we rode bicycles to the beach. We'd have a 6 a.m. ride bicycles, we're pedaling along, monkeys are hanging from trees. We're standing in the middle of the ocean. He looks at me and goes, how can I get any better than this? And I go, I don't know. This is so good. And then it did get better. We were pedaling back, and all of a sudden we went through an area and butterflies started just flying into the air. And there's this beautiful thing that when you're in the mango groves, who knew? Butterflies are like in love with mangoes. And so they're on the mangoes and they're eating and enjoying it, but then if you walk through it, they just go. It's amazing. It's just so miraculous to me how many moments in life there are that are just off the charts amazing. Mm-hmm. When we just stay conscious and curious, because then we look beyond what looks like a difficulty. Then we look beyond what looks like it wasn't wrapped in a pretty package. When we get curious, we see beyond that. And we get more interested in seeking out the light of God in the midst of that being that looks like it doesn't look like God to us, but it is. It always is. And we get more interested in that seeking for something else to be revealed to us. The next one is faith. We must live in unstoppable faith if we're trusting the journey we're upon. How many of you have been on roller coaster rides? Okay, how many of you love roller coaster rides? Okay, about half the hands with that. I think roller coaster rides are amazing. Amazing. Now, when you get on that roller coaster ride, do you think you're thinking like, okay, I wonder who built the track? Who made this thing that's going over me? Is this seat really going to hold me? Am I going to go upside down? Because I'm not sure I'm ready to go upside down. Are you thinking that? No, you're getting into it with joy of like, okay, I'm just trusting this process. I'm going. I recently jumped out of a plane. Talk about trusting the journey. So it was about like one of those wishes. I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to do that one day. And it's all of a sudden somebody was, guess what I got you for your present? You didn't tell me. I was like, oh, we're today? We're doing that today. And so I'm happy. I'm all excited. I'm in the inside of this plane, all men and me. And I'm like all ready. And I'm strapped, to somebody else. Tandem. This is the first time you do it. And so all of a sudden this guy's a jokester. And he's whole line is like, Teddy is asleep. I'm like, don't go to sleep now. This is not time to go to sleep. And all of a sudden they get ready to take us to the edge of the door. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I don't know if I'm doing that right now. Spirit, I asked for this. This is answered prayer. And in that moment when you've got your fingers on the top of the plate, you have to go, it takes a lot of trust. It takes a lot of trust that this guy behind me is going to wake up. Thank goodness he got conscious fast. Then he only joked for a minute that he didn't tell me there's a point that he kind of releases the straps. And the straps kind of loosened and I fell from him. And he goes, I got you. Okay, just checking because we are falling through the air right this minute. But we must trust the journey we're on upon with every moment, whether it's a roller coaster ride, whatever it is, Spirit has got your back. We're not by ourselves, ever, ever. Even in those moments that we feel like we're alone and we can't see a physical being, we are never alone. There's this beautiful, magnificent presence that is with us every step, every breath, every moment. When we're being born, when we're releasing our body temples, when we're in the middle of joy, when we're in the middle of tears, Spirit has got our back, which is magnificent to remember. So with unstoppable faith, we get to keep leaning in. That's why if you heard in meditation, I even caught it again, that I always refer to as that we're just leaning in. So our let go is one of, I'm letting go to a power that's bigger than me, that's holding me and carrying me through when I can't seem to carry myself. Walking with me when I'm flying. But that it's always right there. And unstoppable faith must be cultivated. It's something that we get to cultivate and cultivate over and over again every day. But as we build the muscle, pretty soon it is so automatic that we just know as we're walking through the world, like, Spirit's got this, and we're moving through it. Spirit's got this joy, and we're moving through it. So unstoppable faith, stay in prayer, please. Stay in intention, please, because that's the building blocks of unstoppable faith. Yes?
Yes.
Brilliant. The fourth one that I really love, and I love that I already heard it this morning, is gratitude and acknowledgement. When we trust the journey, we're living in absolute gratitude and acknowledgement. You get freedom every time you're grateful. Wherever your attention is, more energy comes to it. So when you're standing in your gratitude, more freedom comes. Because you're seeing with clear eyes. Now, how many of you are writing gratitude journals? Okay, by next Sunday I'm going to show up. How many of you are writing gratitude journals? And it was like this. I just inspire you that before I go to bed at night, there's not one night I don't go to bed that I'm writing on there. Today I'm grateful for. If you're at New Year's, I send out an email, 100 gratitudes, please. We have races. Like at my house, it's like, okay, I'm at 89, what are you? I'm on 76. My kids call my mother, Grandma, what are you on? She goes, oh, I'm on 21. My son goes, oh, come on, could you speed up? I'm like on 92 right now. So there is so much to be grateful for. And it is another one of those building blocks to building freedom in our lives because we're seeing so clearly. Now, beyond gratitude, and I want you to just for a moment think of one thing you're grateful for, just for a moment right now. Now, amplify that to see 10 things you're grateful for. Just for a moment. 10, 10, 10, 10. Now, acknowledge yourself that you can see what you're grateful for. Acknowledge yourself for getting here this morning. Acknowledge yourself for keeping to your spiritual practice, for delivering your gifts in this time in your body, because you came here to deliver them. The world needs you to deliver them. And the more you acknowledge yourself each day as well, with today I acknowledge myself with, I know this is what's going on in my life. That acknowledgement keeps you absolutely on the path of freedom because you're seeing rightly. Is this making sense? Can I have a yes to this? Yes. Brilliant. And from this moment onward, you get to see yourself rightly. Look in the mirror and say, I acknowledge you. I acknowledge you for showing up. Mm-hmm. I acknowledge you for rising from your bed and being present today, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, if you could look in your mirror, look on your journal and say, I just acknowledge myself for these 3 things today, you will start to make the turn to stay so conscious in your freedom that it's an automatic thing that's going on for you because you're seeing where you're shining, you're seeing where you're glowing, you're seeing where you're growing. And the 5th one is love. Reverend Michael made this beautiful statement last week. He said, he's always said this really funny thing that he used to say, don't go to a party looking for the light, be the light. And this week he said it in the way, he said, instead of looking for love, just be loving. But so often when we're thinking of love, we look outside, oh, I love that person, oh, I love that. And the second we're going to love, seeking it from another instead of being it for another, it turns into some parts of manipulation and we don't even know it. Because we're in the space of, wait, love looks like this, so I think if I'm loving, that person will do something. Is this making sense?
Yes.
And as we're being love, truly standing in the light of love, you are illuminating the path before you for all to step into and be their love. So our charge is to stand in love, be in love, radiate it. Radiate it. And when everything I just mentioned before, your acknowledgement, your gratitude, you staying conscious, all builds the field of you accepting more love. So we're on this path to keep radiating it, to keep giving it, to give it so freely, to race to see who can love first. Just race to see. So today, while you're moving through your day, I just invite you to walk in with that light of love that is shining so brightly that others remember who they are in your presence. Mm-hmm. Terry Cole Whitaker said that years ago, and I loved it. She said, a true friend, when you're in their presence of them, you fall more deeply in love with yourself. When you're standing with someone who loves you so much that they're standing in their love, you have the opportunity to remember who you are. Be that thing for everyone else. Be that place that you're radiating that love and standing in full force gratitude so that others in your presence are illuminating. And pretty soon then you're standing in the field and not only trusting the journey, you're standing in freedom with others. And as we do that for one another, the entire planet is starting to radiate love, because then we're holding it here, absolutely lighting up the entire planet, so love is on the other side of the planet, and we are not even there physically, but we're there consciously. That's our charge. When I'm working with children in my nonprofit organization, I ask them, with every step you take, imagine that you're massaging the earth, and with you massaging the earth with love, it's moving through the center of the earth to the other side, and the child on the other side of the earth is feeling it. That we have the opportunity to do that for each and every one of us. That we are so loving, that our consciousness expands so much so that we are not just living in freedom here, we're assisting others to wake up to their own freedom. So I just bless you today with standing in it, owning it, celebrating it, because this is the answered prayer right here. And next week, we're going to be living the answered prayer, more freedom. And the next week, we're going to be standing in it some more, so that you will be unrecognizable to yourself in a couple of months. And that's a good thing. Yes?
Yes.
Come on, I'll take a huge deep breath while I just lead us to prayer. Just allow those things you were thinking of gratitude a few moments ago to just allow them to bubble up in your heart, please, while I say these words. I'm so grateful. I'm so eternally grateful for the joy, the light, the love that is this day. I stand in full force gratitude, for I know that the power and the presence of God is right here. This one power, one presence, omnipotent, beautiful, energetic field of love is everywhere present. There's no place where it is lacking. It's an impossibility. That God is, I am, moves through each and every one of us. God is, I am, is soul-centered. God is, I am, is every individual in this room and beyond. That the energetic field of yes, that the energetic field of freedom has been named today. That we stand in it, we say yes to it, and we choose this day to stay conscious, awake, courageous, living a life of faith and love and gratitude that expands beyond these walls. That I know that each individual here is willing to grow, is willing to shine so brightly that their light of love impacts the world in a way that is tangible, is rich. I bless this beautiful center. I bless Jessica, I bless Patricia, I bless all the gifts that they bring. I bless every congregant here. I bless that we stay awake to our greatness and that the transformation of healing love throughout this planet occurs in this moment and onward. How good it is to be alive. I simply let go, for I trust God so much that I need not hold on to anything. My let go is pure. And with a grateful heart, together we say, and so it is. Amen. Thank you. The ushers, please. Oh, yes. You're doing a great job on those readings this morning. Thank you. Now, as we bring forth our tithes to this wonderful soul center, I would like to invite you to remember that our tithes are just simply the law of circulation. That is living a life of trust. That we live in an abundant universe. And as we live in an abundant universe, we share and bless and circulate. So may you expand your level of circulation today and bless this beautiful center as all of you go forth and multiply. Go right out to everyone. Thank you, everyone.
And while that's circulating,